Is there no polite way?
Well, yesterday, Chairperson,
You know why I'm asking this? When Honorable Ngola was asking you questions, and again when you started with Honorable Nomval, you repeatedly make this cheeky statement that I'm saying it, you may make what you want of it.
I can't hear you, sir.
I'm saying it, you may make what you want out of it.
Yeah.
That is those are the exact words that you repeatedly used when you respond to some questions by honorable members. And you have just made another statement here that you get out of my family business. And I don't think that that is a polite way of, we are having a conversation with you here. If we ask you a question where you have some discomfort, you can just say it without bringing your arsenal to the battlefield. As a belief, please.
Yeah. So yesterday, Chair, I was told that if I have an expression on my face, it will result in confrontation. No one said anything about that. But anyway, I will adhere to your instruction.
No, I addressed that yesterday.
Yeah.
I said it's me who said that we invited you here.
Yeah.
And our intention is not to.
Well, that's the point at which we will leave those proceedings. Former IPOD head Robert McBride testifying before Parliament's ad hoc committee investigating allegations of criminal infiltration, corruption and political interference into the criminal justice system. And don't forget, we have Utsile Saku coming up with your news at 1. But of course, stay tuned to SAFM. And after the lunch adjournment, they will continue with this particular proceeding. I'm not sure what time they will be taking lunch. It's usually at 1, but they did, of course, take that break earlier. So do stay tuned for further developments. And also SAFM, SABC Plus, that app, if you haven't yet downloaded it, do yourself a favor. You'll be able to watch uninterrupted. Well, it's 1 o'clock. Here's Utsile Saku with your latest news.
Thanks, Akina. Top stories at 1 o'clock. Consumer price inflation sees a slight rise and tensions high in Kagiso following intimidation from illegal miners. Good afternoon. Annual consumer price inflation rose slightly last month to 3.6% in line with expectations by economists. Statistics South Africa says on a month-on-month basis, prices increased by 0.2%. Despite the modest rise from 3.5% in November, inflation remains within the Reserve Bank's tolerance band of 1% from the target point of 3%. Chief Director for Price Statistics, Patrick Kelly.
The December print concludes the results for the calendar year. The average inflation rate for 2025 was 3.2%. This is the lowest rate in 21 years, that is since 2004, when it was 1.4%. The next most recent year that average inflation was lower than 3.2% was in 1969.
The South African Agri Initiative has warned that if government fails to address the foot and mouth disease outbreak, the country faces an economic disaster. Agriculture Minister John Steenhuisen has declared the disease a national disaster, but the organisation says this is not enough. Its demands include a financial relief plan and a public-private partnership to scale up vaccine production. The organisation's Chief Executive Officer, Francois Rousseau.
Declaring a state of disaster is the right call, but a declaration on paper doesn't stop foot and mouth disease. Farmers need action now. We need clear timelines, emergency regulations, a financial relief plan, and a public-private partnership that scales up vaccine production, logistics, and enforcement. And if legislation on movement testing and the processing of milk and meat isn't urgently amended, we'll be sitting with an economic disaster on top of a disease disaster.
Human Settlements Minister Thembi Simelane says alternative land for emergency temporary accommodation has been identified in Limpopo and Mpumalanga. This follows devastating floods in the two provinces. Simelane says her department's efforts to assist households that floods have affected are on track. She says so far the floods have destroyed 1,942 in Limpopo and 1,808 in Mpumalanga. Simelane briefed the media in Pretoria.
We have decided to proceed, as I had indicated, with assisting households that have been verified in the numbers of both 1,942 in Limpopo and 1,808 in Mpumalanga.
The South African Human Rights Commission says urgent reform is needed in the scholar transport sector to ensure the safety of learners. This follows 3 separate crashes involving scholar transport vehicles this week alone. On Monday, more than 10 learners were killed after the minibus taxi they were travelling in crashed into a truck in Vanderbijlpark, south of Johannesburg. The other 2 incidents occurred in Sanya, Durban, as well as in Germiston, east of Johannesburg. The Commission spokesperson, Wisani Baloyi, says the sector has serious systematic failures.
These tragedies underscore the systemic failures in the provision of scholar transport. Reliable and safe scholar transportation is indispensable to the realization of the right to basic education. The Vanderbijlpark and Pinetown accident tragically illustrate the consequence of this systemic failure. It is a stark reminder that scholar transport, when unsafe and unreliable, not only undermines the constitutional right to basic education, but also endangers learners' lives.
Former Independent Police Investigative Directorate Head Robert McBride says he only got to know private investigator Paul O'Sullivan in 2014. He's admitted attending social gatherings with investigator O'Sullivan and receiving some information on drug syndicates. However, McBride says he didn't influence him. McBride has been facing questions from members of Parliament's ad hoc committee on the second day of his testimony. It happened during ICD's totally different, rather. It says it happened during the time when he was the head of the Independent Police Investigative Directorate.
I've known him since 2014 when I was appointed to IPID, and I met him in response to his provocation about what IPID's predecessor had done to him, and I thought I didn't need somebody harassing me about something that is not my business. It happened during ICD. It's a totally different animal that I was heading now. So from I was appointed to IPA, that's when I know him. Never met him before.
And finally, tensions remain high at the Randgate Community Hall in Kagiso, west of Johannesburg, where about 500 residents of the Sporong informal settlement have sought shelter. They say they fled their homes 2 weeks ago following intimidation from illegal miners, commonly known as Zamazamas. Residents say there is a lack of safety and shortage of food. Recapping the top story, annual consumer price inflation rose slightly last month to 3.6%, in line with economists' expectations. Headlines at 1:30.
Are you looking for the best spectacle and sunglass deal? With Specsavers buy one, get one offer, you get great value for money. Get a free pair of branded single vision prescription sunglasses up to 3,300 Rand. When you purchase a comprehensive eye examination and spectacle frames with lenses on your first pair. The best part? Choose from top brands like Police, Hugo, Under Armour, Tommy Hilfiger, Red Bull Spect and more. Affordable eye care? Specsavers. T's and C's apply.
63-year-old Almero knows all about saving with Outsurance.
We do save 417 Rand. That's about 5,000 Rand a year.
That's an awesome saving on Almero's 2021 Ford Ranger.
And there's an out bonus that you get if you don't claim for 3 years. I am really looking forward to it.
How much money could Outsurance save you? Get a quote now. SMS out to 30754. That's out to 30754. Licensed insurer in FSP. TCs and information online.
What if
From the shows that bring us laughter to the moments that inspire us, your SABC TV license makes it all possible. Every license paid supports local stories, top talent, and the programs that unite South Africa. Pay your TV license today. Visit tvlic.co.za or your nearest retail outlet. Hashtag your screen, your story. Together, we make it happen.
There are routines we all love. Morning and night skincare routines, exercise routines, even new routines like meal prep, journaling, and chemo. That last one hit differently, didn't it? The truth is, over 99% of cervical cancer cases are linked to the human papillomavirus. So if you're a woman between 15 and 44, act now. Ask your healthcare provider about the HPV vaccine. This message was brought to you by MSD.
Have you discovered the TV license WhatsApp yet? We see you, binging reruns, living for the drama, loving the SABC Plus sports replays. Now, paying your TV license fits the vibe. Simply say hi on WhatsApp to 077 6069 060. Get your balance, make a payment, or set up a debit order all in one chat. No queues, no please hold, just convenience that feels like it should have been here all along. Because every screen in South Africa is a stage and yours is lit. So why wait? Send hi on WhatsApp to 077 6069 060 and get your TV license sorted today. Hashtag your screen, your story.
Clientele is here to safeguard you and your family with compassion because life happens. Be part of a family that truly cares. Our funeral dignity plans have helped South Africans bury their loved ones with dignity for more than 30 years. Let us help you create a meaningful tribute that honors your life and those of your loved ones. We pay out within 24 hours and you will get double accident cover with a clientele funeral plan. Our plans are affordable. Pick the option that suits your needs. Easy to apply, no medical examinations and no paperwork. SMS SAFM to 48031. That's 48031. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Eskom customers, change is here. Eskom is upgrading old electricity meters with modern smart meters, giving you clarity, control, and confidence. With your new meter, you'll be able to see your usage in real time, giving you the power to manage your electricity with ease. Smart meters are accurate and help Eskom respond faster to issues. Please allow our authorized installers access to install your new meter. For more information, visit Eskom. Eskom, redefining a better future.
What if your child could achieve better academic results in 2026? At Teneo School, they can. Our smart school system tracks every learner in real time and helps teachers spot gaps early. The results? With over 3,500 successful Teneo School matriculants, learners improve their average marks by 12% in the first year. Access affordable private schooling, no restrictive entry, fees starting from 3,000 Rand per month. Enroll now for 2026 at teneoschool.co.za. That's TENEO school.co.za.
You are listening to the Ad Hoc Committee, live on SAFM.
Good afternoon. It's just gone 10 past 1 o'clock as we begin with the full circle today. Just a time check and a hello from our side to you before we go back to the ad hoc committee in Cape Town. They took a bit of a break a little while ago, so we're anticipating that they might continue through till the top of the hour. Or they might have an unannounced break any moment from now. From now, though, they're still fielding questions to the former head of IPED, Robert McBride. So without wasting any more time, let's go back to that live feed.
But there's some rationale and logic going into it.
Yeah, and then you said that Mr. Pahlane's house was built by service providers. Who are those service providers?
Well, for example, the allegation is that it's FTA, and there was some back payments. During the without getting into the investigation, during the search warrant execution at FTA, a lot of further incriminating documents were found, and including close to R1 million in cash in that area, and everything was done to get a search warrant declared invalid, but that failed, and Judge Colopin ruled in the favor of IPID and DPCI, who were doing a joint operation.
So you have evidence proving that the house was built by service providers?
Oh, there is evidence. A statement made by one of the drivers or bodyguards about loading up cash at a certain stage. So, yeah, let me just leave it there. There's cash, there's specific details about how the cash is obtained, but let me leave it there.
But your final take is that the house was built by service providers, and you have evidence proving that. That is the final statement.
Yeah, that's the evidence that's there. And service provider payments, kickbacks.
Kickbacks?
Yeah.
Which were delivered in cash?
According to the statements of the drivers.
And then you went to raid Pahlane's house. So we are saying, because the evidence of Pahlane, which he tendered here, is that when they arrived in his house, when they arrived, he showed them proof of payment, that the sound system was paid from his bank account to where he was buying the sound system. And you have said, when you were responding to the honorable member, that you got an information proving that the sound system was bought by a service provider.
Yes, the service provider bought the sound system and had it installed.
So we will request Mr. Pahlane, when he comes back, General Pahlane, to come with proof here, proving that really the sound system was bought by his account. And if he adduces that, then how would you react? Because unfortunately, we're not going to have you anymore in this committee.
Well, I haven't felt very much help in this committee, but the point is, Pahlane admitted it was bought by the service provider, but that he put the money back afterwards.
No, I'm saying to you, if Mr. Pahlane, if General Pahlane comes, because we will make that request to him, that when he comes back, he must come with the POP, with the proof of payment, proving that he bought the sound system using his account. So the money was transferred from his account to a person or to a shop from which he was buying the sound system. If he produces that, how would you react? Because unfortunately, he won't come back.
The only way in which I can answer that, if I ask the investigators to provide for you the evidence of the service provider paying for it, and I bring it here, what will you say to that?
So you have that? No, I would be very...
No, it exists.
You will be helping the committee. We want evidence here.
Yeah. No, it exists, sir. It exists.
If you have that proof, please provide it to the committee.
It's in IPID or IDAC, not with me personally. I don't keep personal documents.
So you don't have that proof in your possession?
No, it's there. The proof is there.
Where?
In the investigation file. Where else?
Okay. But the question is here, which we have not responded to. When Mr. Pahlane gives evidence or proof that he bought it from his account, then what would you say?
Let's cross that bridge when we come to it, because I know different.
Okay.
That's hypothetical.
I didn't hear your response when you were asked about your relationship with Paul O'Sullivan. Do you have a personal relationship?
Well, I don't know whether you were in the room or not, but I was asked about that, and I said I have an association with him. Friendship is something different.
So you don't have a personal relationship?
You mean like like boys' weekends away together,
Yes,
which you can't talk about.
outside your official association, if there's any, do you have a personal relationship?
I meet him occasionally when he has information. For about 6 months, I haven't met him.
Did you attend his case? He once appeared in court at some point, where
I'm
he
not
was
sure.
charged, I think, for...
No, I'm not sure. I don't even think I was there. I'm not sure.
You didn't attend?
I'm not sure.
I can remind you, the case was here at midnight. It was heard by Judge Letwaba. Did you attend that case?
I don't remember him being in the box when I was present. I don't remember that.
So what I'm asking here, did you ever attend Paul O'Sullivan's case?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
I don't remember where he was in a box and I was in the court.
But I'm putting it to you that you attended his case, which was here at midnight, at 12 o'clock. And the case was presided over by Judge Letwaba.
I can't remember a specific case like that.
You don't know that case?
If I was there, I'd say so.
Do you know that Paul O'Sullivan was once arrested?
It's possible.
You don't know?
Arrested for what, sir?
No, I'm asking about the arrest first before we
He
go
was
to the
arrested,
charges.
yes. He was arrested.
So you know he was arrested?
Yes.
Why were you saying it's possible? If you know.
Maybe he was arrested more than once.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't want you to guess here. I want us to tell something that you know. Do you know that Mr. Paul O'Sullivan was once arrested?
Could you kindly be specific, please, so I know how to respond to you? In relation to what?
He was arrested. He was in the Afroforum's offices when he was arrested. Do you know that?
Yes, I know about that.
You know that?
Yes, I know about that.
Do you know the charges for which he was arrested?
Oh, it's the same charges about impersonating.
I knew you
an
know the
IPED
charges.
officer.
That is why I did not respond when you were asking me about the charges, because I knew you know them.
Yeah, but
And it's exactly what you have told us.
so the issue is, I would suggest that maybe you should listen to my testimony. I said, I don't remember a situation where Paul was in court and I was in the audience, seeing him in the box. However, I would think it wouldn't have been untoward. He is, after all, a witness for IPED.
But you have just said you know he was arrested and you were mentioning the charges. Now,
No, I heard Patlani running off his mouth on
no,
radio.
let's leave Patlane.
No, I'm telling you, you want to
Okay,
know what I
thank you.
know.
Thank you so much. May you please stop speaking. The time has expired. It's now 20 minutes after 13 hours. We are going to break. We will come back at 14 hours. Did you want to say something, Honorable Matthews?
Yes, just quickly. Chair, which time allocation did you go with?
Yeah,
Which time allocation
it's 40 minutes.
did you go with?
It's 40 minutes for a full
I
member.
knew you'd end up doing that. All right, Chair.
Yeah. Thank you. When we come back, we will take Honorable Shongwe for 20 minutes and Honorable Breitenbach for 40 minutes. May you please stand up and go for break.
Seeks Answers. SAFM brings you live, uninterrupted coverage of Parliament's ad hoc committee investigating allegations made by KwaZulu-Natal Provincial Commissioner, Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. You can also stay up to date with the Judicial Commission of Inquiry into Criminality, Political Interference and Corruption in the Criminal Justice System. Stay informed, stay connected. Tune in live on SAFM 104 to 107 and follow the coverage across our digital platforms live on Facebook, X and YouTube at SAFM Radio. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. For 90 years, one voice has informed, challenged, and connected a nation. SAFM, South Africa's national English public radio station. Established in 1936 as the SABC's very first service, the A program, evolving through the English service, Radio South Africa, to SAFM in 1995, shaping thought and strengthening democracy. From a full-spectrum station to a trusted home of news and talk, SAFM continues to lead the conversations 90 years strong. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. Are we ready for a real conversation? SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
All right. Like we said, we were anticipating anything to happen. The ad hoc committee sometimes leaves us with an unpredictable structure, unlike the Madlanga Commission, which we kind of can predict right down to the T, except maybe in the instance that something exceptional happens that forces a break. But the ad hoc committee, I think, always leaves us working somehow fluidly here on the show. So it's just gone 20 past 1 o'clock. We did hear them saying that they're going to break until the top of the hour. So we're going to utilize this time just to give you some of that breather content by way of different conversations before we jump back into that live crossing. We're going to be catching up with Renee Moonsamy, who's the chairperson of the National Debt Counselling Association. And we're looking at debt counsellors who are pushing for tougher rules to curb dodgy operators. They're calling for sweeping reforms in the debt counselling sector, as concerns are growing about unregistered and so-called fly-by-night operators that are preying on vulnerable consumers. Renee, good afternoon to you. How are you?
I'm doing well, Bridget. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for the time. Well, I guess firstly, before we jump into the conversation, just some context around the National Debt Counselling Association, the body in itself, who it represents and what it oversees and governs.
Thank you so much for that. So our association contains members who are actively involved in the debt counselling industry and have an industry in the professionalization of our industry, as well as consumer protection and consumer rights. Because we are actively involved in debt counselling, we are advocating for the professionalization of the career of debt counsellors, as well as all of the processes and the logistics involved in creating a space where consumers who are over-indebted or are in financial distress can enter a process that is reliable, that is safe and works and rehabilitates consumers to re-enter the financial market.
All right. So in terms of the call for tougher regulations, talk to us about what preceded this call.
Sure. So as we may know, debt counselling is a process. It is provided for by the National Credit Act, and it allows the consumer who's facing financial difficulty or struggling to keep up with their monthly payments reprieve. It allows for a restructuring of your terms, installments, interest rates, and it should reduce your monthly installments to allow a consumer time to recover their financial situation. Now, this process is facilitated by a registered debt counsellor, but the challenge we're having is that the debt counselling license, which is perhaps the most important financial license in the financial services sector, is too easily attained. And when it is, it's often abused by individuals who are seeking to take advantage of consumers who are in a fragile state when you're in financial distress, and doesn't seek to help the consumer become rehabilitated. So we're seeing a lot of consumers being scammed into the promise of financial rehab just months after they have initiated an application only to realize that the reality requires settlement of your debt and a formal exit process.
I mean, if you say that the debt counseling license is easily obtained, it's kind of a bit of a scary situation, right? Because I'm just thinking back, yes, on this show, we vet and verify our guests. So I know that every debt counselor and debt counseling firm we've spoken to or financial firm that offers such services is a credited and verified one. But now you're saying that there are very many individuals out there who are walking around essentially unqualified to perhaps give the advice and oversee the process of debt counseling because of how easily this license is obtained.
Well, you can only obtain a license by registering with the National Credit Regulator, who then will maintain and allow for an individual to have a license. But because the license is easily obtainable, not necessarily that the debt counselor themselves do not have the requirements to become a debt counselor, but because the license is easily obtained and easily managed, we find an influx of applicants coming into the debt counseling industry that don't necessarily have the competence or the experience to maintain such an important financial license. So some of the things our association are advocating for, as an example, is the Kofi Bill, which has been topical this 2026 because we are expecting for that to come into fruition, which will help put some much needed standard financial services requirements in for everyone involved in giving consumers advice on their finances. Some of the things we don't yet have is, as an example, treating customers fairly, the 6 principles that are required in order to prioritize consumer well-being. Other things like continuous professional development, which you see in insurance and in other financial services, are not a standard requirement for the debt counseling industry. And we believe that these things, coupled with perhaps tighter regulation, higher education and competence requirements, will allow for consumers to have a consistent experience when dealing with the debt counselor.
So what should consumers be looking out for? Because on the one hand, you say that folks who have the debt counseling license are registered with a particular body that speaks to the financial services. But on the other hand, also that it's left opportunity for scammers who offer, debt counseling services. So what should we, as the layman listening, because now we're left confused. What should we be looking out for if we're saying that we want to engage the services of accredited, verified debt counselor?
That's a great question, and we're always going to advocate for a consumer to engage the services of a debt counselor that is, one, a part of an association. So you know that they are up to date in industry happenings and they are invested in bettering the debt counseling industry. We're also going to say that we should look for an online presence. A debt counselor who has an online presence, it is indicative of someone who has had an established business and one that has enough experience to take care of the nuances that happen in the debt counseling journey. Speaking to your debt counselor, making sure that you are verifying that they are registered with the NCR and that information is readily available online. But most importantly, I think it's important for consumers to trust in the process and be with a debt counselor who they believe is competent enough to handle their requirements. Knowledge is power, and we don't want consumers to be scammed, and we want them to be aware of what the debt counseling process can benefit them through, as well as what should not be happening. There's so much information available online. Thousands and thousands of South Africans have successfully undergone debt review and have come out on the other side being completely financially free and secure. And we want others to benefit from that and not be taken as a part of the scams that are going on. Every industry has scammers. And so it's important that our consumers are well informed and looking for the right indicators.
Yeah. What happens in the cases where there's been incomplete debt counseling? What is the recourse there?
Well, that happens quite often. Sometimes a consumer will apply for debt counseling and there might be an unforeseen financial circumstance that permanently alters their ability to continue with the process, and they don't have an exit mechanism. And one of the things our members are advocating for this year is for a formal exit process or structure to be implemented via legislation or by the regulator to allow for consumers who are no longer benefiting from the process, perhaps no longer able to participate in the process because their financial situation has changed so drastically, to have the means to exit the process and find either an alternate method of rehabilitation or to allow a consumer whose financial situation has improved so drastically to re-enter the credit market to allow for that rehabilitation to be realized.
Well, Renee, we appreciate the time and the information shared today. That was Renee Munsami, chairperson of the National Debt Counselling Association. It's gone 1:30 on the Full Circle with myself, Bridget Masinga, just casting my eye on visuals coming out of Durban from Channel 4 for SABC News, and it seems like the tensions there at Eddington Primary between the parents and law enforcement are truly escalating, and things are getting quite tense right now. There's been a protest that has been ongoing since last week sometime around learner placement. You know, the bitter sadness of this is that I actually went to primary school here when this was one of the first schools that opened up for intake of black students. I entered the school at grade 2. Grade 2. Yeah, because grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. Yes, grade 2. It was grade 2. I mean, since the years, the school has seen some dilapidating and lack of attention but it was a really good school back in the day, right on the beachfront, really good community, really great students. And just seeing everything that's happening there is actually quite disturbing. We need to have a conversation. I'm not too sure if it's been had with Kathy, and most likely she's followed up this conversation and told us around the school placement system, particularly just from the parents' perspective, because it seems yet another system that was a novel idea, but that seems to be lacking in capacity to be able to do what it was set out to do. Because year in, year out, we see these scenes of frustrated parents who are struggling to get their kids into school. And of course, now there's all kinds of social dynamics that are happening. I know in this school also that conversation around foreign students who enter the schooling system is quite ripe at that particular school. Given the context of the community in and around the beach, it's the only school in the beachfront, the only primary school in the beachfront, from what I recall. Maybe another one has been built since, but it is the only primary school in the beachfront. And then there's a high school on the other side of the beach, North Beach. Used to be a technical high school. I don't know if it's still around. But we do need to have this conversation, because I saw scenes as well from Ekurhuleni last week. And I actually just want to have a conversation with parents, not even so much with the department, just to hear parents' frustrations. I saw scenes from Ekurhuleni as well last week where dads, they were talking to a lot of dads who had been on the line for days, who had arrived at 5 o'clock in the morning and have been standing in the line till like late afternoon waiting to see the school administration. But it is getting very tense there. I'm just seeing a gentleman putting his hands on a woman, and no one seemed to have even noticed live on TV that a gentleman just literally assaulted a woman live on TV, and no one noticed at all. But yeah, let's take a quick break and then we'll be back on the other side.
Who says talking never solves anything? SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. Wherever you are in the world, SAFM 104 to 107 is accessible. We're also streaming live on Facebook, X, and YouTube at SAFM Radio. We acknowledge and appreciate everyone tuning in and watching our streams. Stay with SAFM 104 to 107 as we bring you commission live, breaking stories, and thought-provoking lectures. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. Bridget Masinga on SAFM.
All right, let's get into our next conversation now, talking to Kamugelo Malubie, who is a lecturer for movement studies and physical theatre and choreography at Wits University. And we're looking at Pitso ya Kalaneng, the 2026 festival, which opens the Wits academic year. How are you doing this afternoon, Kamugelo?
Good afternoon, Bridget. I'm well, thanks. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for taking the time. So the Wits Theatre Complex is coming alive with the flagship Pitso ya Kalanela 2026 festival. Tell me a little bit about this festival. Or did I say Kalanela instead of Kalanela?
Ya Kalaneng.
Ya Kalaneng.
Yes.
I just saw my producers burst out laughing.
It happens. It's a tongue twister sometimes. So, thank you very much for having me, and good afternoon to all the listeners. This festival started 3 years ago, and we started it immediately after we had come back from COVID. The Theatre and Performance Department at WITS, in collaboration with the WITS that usually hosts our orientation week programs, we're trying to figure out how do we get our students reinvigorated about being back to the theatre and being back in person to teaching and learning. But also, how do we reach out to the entire campus community to have them be excited about being at the Wits University institution? And so 3 years ago, we started Pitso ya Kalaneng Festival, which is a call to the theatre to invite students within the Wits precinct, but also within Johannesburg, institutions that engage with theatre and performance and music, to gather together at the Wits Theatre and share the experiences of theatre and the different narratives that emerged for them while they were in COVID, and that they wanted to reimagine on a theatrical space in person. And that's what we started, and since then the collaborators have really grown within the 3 years we have developed this festival.
It's a wonderful thing because it's an inclusive festival, as you've alluded, not just centered around Wits University, even though centered around Wits University, but inviting all other institutions. I mean, what say you and the students about the spirit of collaboration, creative collaboration?
Yeah, I think what has been very, very important to us as the teaching faculty in the department is to allow our students to engage with other students in different institutions, because we've come to realize that a lot of students sort of work in silos, and they end up sort of thinking that they are the only people that engage with theatre and performance, and they only ever engage with other institutions or other students when they go for auditions or callbacks. And so during that time, we really thought, let us allow other institutions to come to the university so that we also have some sort of parity and exchange and collaboration with the students. They start to network, they do workshops, they host and participate in workshops from other institutions. And I think this has allowed for them to engage with the cultural economy far more broader than what they would have in a curriculum-based platform.
Absolutely. This year you have chosen the hashtag, is it Tuko Hapa, a Swahili phrase for we are here.
Correct. I think because of the number of collaborators that we've had, it sort of seems as though the festival is gaining traction and momentum. And the statement we are here really solidifies the fact that Wits University can become the hub for a lot of creative output within Johannesburg, and that we fight against this idea that institutions of teaching and learning are inaccessible. And so we invite these various institutions, such as the TX Theatre, the Tambo Arts Academy, EFTA, and so on, to have this broad understanding that we are here at Wits University to showcase our work. But beyond that, as Gauteng, we are here collaboratively to work together, to share resources, to share arts, to share culture, and make it this beautiful collaborative experience that allows for inclusive experiences.
As part of the schedule from Wits University side, you are choreographing the production All Threads. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, so Two Threads is a duet that emanated from a large ensemble production that I did last year titled Seven Colors. The production was about family gatherings. So during family gatherings, be it for Christmas celebration or a funeral, family always gathers together and shares experiences about what it means to be and belong in that family. In two threads, I sort of focus in more on the tensions of what sometimes holds particular relationships together. And in this instance, it's a relationship between two long-lost brothers who see each other for the first time at this family gathering and start to sort of navigate how do they come to engage with their brotherhood, where do they pick up from, do they start from the beginning, and the complexities of having to speak about sometimes the challenging moments of being in a family when you haven't seen many of our relatives.
Sure. I mean, it sounds like a production that I think a lot of us can really resonate with. The festival is open to us also to come and enjoy all productions that are being offered.
Of course, yes, please, to everybody. It is open to everybody. It is open to students from across Johannesburg and Gauteng. If you're a student, just bring student cards. Tickets will be 40 rands. And the general public, staff and the general public for 80 rand. It is open to absolutely everybody, and tickets can be bought either at Web Tickets or at the box office in person at the theatre.
Running for a full week, from what I understand, right? From the beginning of February, 2nd of Feb until the 7th.
Correct.
Wonderful stuff. I am looking forward to this one. By the way, before I let you go, because I know we touch a little bit on all threads, and maybe you might have wind of what else is being brought to the stages this year, whether by WITS or from the other institutions.
Yes. So we have a production, Eskom Sepus, which is engaging with what a lot of South Africans are dealing with in relation to load shedding. So how do we navigate the challenges of that? We also have a production titled Anna by a collective called Mandifeze. The production is about a grandmother who is going through dementia and is trying to figure out how do they now relay the inheritance of family inheritance and lineage to their grandchildren when they are going through dementia. We've got a production called Solitude Clearing, which is a production that engages with what it means, the weight of being in solitude, and sometimes that solitude is not loneliness. We get to enjoy ourselves and to start to be mindful. A production titled Eighth Bag, performance by 8 performers who identify as male and are engaging with what it means to understand their maleness and masculinities within South Africa when they've been raised in the absence of their fathers. And so there's a wide variety of productions that deal with a multiple perspective and narratives that every audience can sort of get a piece of what it is that they may enjoy, either conceptually or aesthetically.
Wonderful. It definitely sounds like a jam-packed schedule between the 2nd of February until the 7th of Feb, happening at WITS, the WITS Theatre Complex, with the flagship Pitso Ya Kalaneng 2026 festival opening the WITS academic year. Kamohelo, thank you so much for the time this afternoon. That was Kamohelo Malobiye, who is the lecturer for movement studies, physical theatre and choreography at WITS University, and they've convened creative stakeholders from other institutions to come through and be a part of the festival. As you've heard, been running for 3 years now. So it's not just WITS, but it's Tswana University, University of Pretoria, after the Market Theatre Laboratory, Lutando Arts Academy, Abantu Creative Projects, Mandifeze, WITS Choir, Sibekwa Arts Centre, and the Creative Research Lab, all converging for the festival. 6 days of goodness being hosted at the WITS Theatre Complex, and you can get your tickets via their website. It's gone 2 o'clock as we chase, whatever little time that we have to fill in as much conversation as we can in this space before we get back to that ad hoc committee where they have been playing from the same playbook of vibes, and it is not sitting well with the parliamentarians at all. His body language being called into question, his abrasive, elusive manner when answering questions. A lot of parliamentarians using words like he's undermining the process. Leanne Matthey saying that this is not a podcast, but it's an actual official investigation, and it should be given the due respect and the gravitas that is required of it. So it really got heated there in the last 10 minutes before they took to the break, and really that sentiment being shed across the board of all the MPs from the respective political parties, saying that McBride is, for lack of a better word, probably just approaching them in the process as a joke. So we wait to see when they come back what else happens and where they pick up from there. I doubt his attitude is going to change one way or another, because as they were laying those complaints, his facial expressions were... They say faces could talk. His face was literally telling them to go jump off the nearest cliff. So we'll see when they come back if whether or not they change. He changes his attitude. Let's go to WhatsApp. Hear your thoughts.
Yeah, it's on the national radio, and also a child coming from the people. I could have said something very, very nasty about this McBride thing. He is just arrogant. He is just arrogant. So this is also brings to the attention of the people who employ this kind of characters in the public offices, especially the post that he's holding, the IPID. Oh my goodness. This is arrogant at its best. This guy is just a road. I'm sure he killed a lot of people. He doesn't care. Oh my goodness. I'm very, very angry about him. Thank you so much. This is Lawrence Gent, Cape Town.
Lawrence, I think, echoing the sentiment of a lot of parliamentarians, not the sentiment about killing, just the sentiment about the arrogance, and his rude demeanor towards the parliamentarians. But hey, we'll see what happens. We anticipate that they should be back after 2:00, but we'll keep our ears to the ground and update you if they're not.
This program is brought to you by SABC Education, enriching minds, enriching lives.
Hello friends, and welcome to our Wednesday edition of Kids Corner. Today we're talking about brushing our teeth and keeping healthy smiles. Do you brush your teeth every day? When do you usually brush? In the morning or at night? Why do you think brushing your teeth is important for your health? How do you feel when your teeth are clean and your breath smells fresh? What do you think can happen if you don't brush your teeth properly? What helps you remember to brush your teeth every day? Alright friends, let's keep those smiles bright and healthy. But first, let's listen to some of our friends.
Hello everyone, my name is Matimba Kosa. I am 6 years old. I go to Jabez Christian Academy School. I always brush my teeth in the morning every day. Brushing your teeth is important for your health because it removes bacteria to maintain good oral hygiene. I always feel good and confident when my teeth are clean and my breath smells good. If you don't brush your teeth, you could have bad breath and get sick. An existing routine helps me to remember to brush my teeth first thing in the morning.
Good day everyone, my name is Zelanda Mzobe. I am 12 years old. Yes, I do brush my teeth every day. I usually brush my teeth in the morning, afternoon and at night when I'm about to sleep. I think brushing your teeth is more important to keep yourself healthy and don't get damage in your gums. I feel very fresh when my teeth are clean and smells like some halsey. If you brush your teeth properly, your teeth can become very white and clean and your gums will be healthy too. Nothing helps me to remember to brush my teeth because I'm used to it. When I wake up, I brush my teeth, wash my face and do so forth. And in the afternoon, I do the same. And at night, I also do the same. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, I brush my teeth every day, in the morning and at the night. Brushing keeps my teeth strong and healthy. My mouth feels fresh and clean. If we don't brush, we get cavities. A routine and reminders from adults help me remember more.
Hello, beautiful people of Mzansi. My name is Ranzi Shangwane. Yes, I brush my teeth every day, twice a day, in the morning before school and at night before I go to bed. Brushing your teeth is really important for your health as it removes germs, prevents cavities, and keeps your mouth healthy. When I brush my teeth clean and my breath smells fresh, I feel very happy and confident, and I'm just positive that I won't be bothering people, because it's also very uncomfortable for the next person when your breath isn't smelling the best. So, yeah, I get happy that I don't have to make anybody else go through that. If you don't brush your teeth properly, you can deal with very bad breath. You can have cavities, your teeth can decay, and it can also cause your gums to get very sore. I feel like having a routine and reminders from parents helps you remember, especially when you're younger. But as you grow older, I don't think you forget to brush your teeth, because when your teeth aren't brushed, your mouth already feels uncomfortable. You can feel that it doesn't feel normal. I don't know how to describe it, but there's just like a lot of overload and like plaque. So I feel like when you're older, the older you get, you can feel that and it feels uncomfortable, and you really don't need any reminders from anyone.
Greetings. I brush my teeth 2 times a day because I understand why, and because it is a good habit for us to stay healthy and keep our teeth and mouth refreshed so that we can continue with whatever task that we do. So if we don't brush our teeth, they might get some infections and rot, and it'll be very painful for them to function. There are some foods that are not good for our teeth, which is sweets. It can lead our teeth to rot and stay in a bad condition. If I get a toothache, I just warm wash my mouth with warm salty water.
Hello, my name is Dember Mother. I brush my teeth 3 times a day. I am sometimes reminded to brush my teeth. Yes, I do understand the importance of oral hygiene. The importance of oral hygiene is if you protect your oral health with good oral hygiene practices, brushing and flossing, the odds are in your favor. You can keep your teeth for a lifetime. To keep your teeth healthy, it is important to remove dental plaque, a sticky colorless film of bacteria. Plaque buildup can cause tooth decay and gum disease. Why I think it's important to have a good oral hygiene is because without a proper dental hygiene plan, bacteria that would harm the tooth enamel can build up, causing cavities and a tooth decay. And because it's important to have a good tooth health.
Hi, my name is Danica Wood. I brush my teeth twice a day. I take 2 to 3 minutes to brush my teeth, but it sometimes depends because sometimes I take longer. I change my toothbrush every 1 to 2 months or whenever I can. I brush my teeth on my own and I never have to be reminded to do so. I think that having good dental health is very important because it keeps your teeth healthy and strong and prevents cavities and plaque buildup.
My name is Duretsang Ndlovu. I brush my teeth once every day. I brush my teeth for about 2 minutes. I change my toothbrush every 3 months because it is always in good shape. I always brush my teeth, but I'm never told to. Sometimes I am asked if I did or not, only because I am not always seen. I think it is good to keep or have good dental health because we will have perfect looking teeth and no problems like cavities or toothaches.
Good day everyone, my name is Amangoza Miana. Today I'm going to be talking about the importance of a good dental hygiene. Well, I brush my teeth twice a day, once in the morning and once before bed. I do it because I know it's important to keep my teeth clean and healthy. If I don't brush my teeth regularly, they might decay and hurt. I have learned some foods are good for my teeth, like fruits and vegetables, while others are bad, like sugary snacks. I think it's important to brush our teeth regularly so that we can have strong and healthy teeth for life. And if I have a toothache, I know I can tell my mom or dad so that we can visit the dentist. Thank you for listening. Hope you guys learned something new today. See you next time.
Thank you, friends. It's always great to hear from you. Brushing your teeth every day is one of the most important habits for keeping your body healthy and strong. Our mouth helps us eat, speak, and smile. So taking good care of our teeth is a big part of taking care of ourselves. Brushing in the morning helps remove germs that build up overnight, while brushing at night cleans away food and sugar from the day and protects our teeth while we sleep. Clean teeth and fresh breath can make children feel confident and comfortable at school and around others. When your mouth feels fresh, it's easier to smile, talk, and enjoy the day without feeling shy or uncomfortable. Good oral hygiene also helps prevent bad smell, tooth pain, and infections that can make eating and concentrating at school difficult. If your teeth are not brushed properly, germs and sugar can damage them, leading to cavities, sore gums, and toothaches. These problems can be painful and may even cause children to miss school or struggle to focus in class. That's why brushing twice a day using toothpaste and rinsing well are more important for a long-term health. Building a daily brushing routine helps us as children develop responsibility and discipline. Simple habits like brushing after waking up and before going to bed make it easier to remember and turn good hygiene into a part of everyday life. Parents, caregivers, and siblings can also help by reminding and encouraging children to brush regularly. Healthy teeth are not just about having a nice smile. They help us as children eat well, speak clearly, and feel good about ourselves. Taking a few minutes each day to brush properly is a small effort, but brings big benefits for our health, confidence, and happiness. That's it for today, friends. See you next time.
This program was brought to you by SABC Education. Enriching minds, enriching lives.
Top stories at 2 o'clock. Consumer price inflation sees a slight rise and court finds South Korea's former prime minister guilty. Good afternoon. Annual consumer price inflation rose slightly last month to 3.6%, in line with economists' expectations. Statistics South Africa says on a month-on-month basis, prices increased by 0.2%. Despite the modest rise from 3.5% in November, inflation remains within the Reserve Bank's tolerance band of 1.1% from the target point of 3%. Chief Director for Price Statistics, Patrick Kelly.
The December print concludes the results for the calendar year. The average inflation rate for 2025 was 3.2%. This is the lowest rate in 21 years, that is since 2004, when it was 1.4%. The next most recent year that average inflation was lower than 3.2% was in 1969.
President Cyril Ramaphosa says parents should not have to bury their children. This as the country mourns the deaths of 12 learners who were killed when their scholar transport minibus they were travelling in crashed into a truck in Vanderbijlpark, south of Johannesburg on Monday. 3 of the learners are still in hospital. Ramaphosa was speaking on the sidelines of the basic education sector Lekgotla in Boksburg, east of Johannesburg.
Children are not meant to be buried by their parents. Children must bury their parents. We cannot accept that young lives are put at risk in such a horrific way as they seek the growth and enrichment that an education should provide them. And we cannot let this tragedy just pass.
The driver of a 7-seater Scholar transport carrying 22 learners has abandoned his vehicle on foot upon seeing traffic officers at Ladana in Polokwane, Limpopo. Traffic spokesperson Madome Dauya says the vehicle was overloaded.
Abandoning a vehicle and fleeing the scene is unacceptable. Learner transport is a serious responsibility and safety must always come first. We urge parents, drivers and operators to prioritize learner safety and adhere to road safety regulations. Overloading is not innovation and shortcuts will not be tolerated.
CRL Rights Commission chairperson Toko Mkhwanazi says has responded to allegations made by former Section 22 committee chair Reverend Professor Musa Xulu following his resignation from the committee. Xulu has accused the commission of intimidation and procedural irregularities and claims that the CRL has rejected. The ad hoc committee was established to develop regulations for churches, including the protection of congregants from abuse, among others. Mkhwanazi Xulu says complaints were lodged against Xulu by members of the Section 22 committee, raising concerns about his conduct and leadership style. And finally, further afield, a court in Seoul has found South Korea's former Prime Minister Han Duck-soo guilty of engaging in an act of insurrection. He has been sentenced to 23 years in prison. The charges relate to involvement in the former President Yoon Suk-yeol's failed attempt to impose martial law in December 2024. Duck-soo is the first former cabinet minister that a court has handed sentence on criminal charges directly related to martial law. The BBC's Jake Kwan reports.
The judge said the former prime minister helped a loyalist coup and insurrection. He rejected Han's claim that he was powerless to stop it. Han Duck-soo was found guilty of legitimizing the martial law by arranging the cabinet meeting and falsifying documents. The verdict has a major implication in Yoon's own insurrection trial.
Recapping the top story, annual consumer price inflation rose slightly last month to 3.6%, in line with economists' expectations. For SFM News, I'm Utile Saku, headlines at 2:30.
In a world of noise, one thing is still clear. Akwele. Introducing the new, still-flavored range from Akwele. Lemon mint, mango passion fruit, blueberry raspberry, peach apricot. Still made from Akwele's 100% natural spring water. Delicious, high in vitamins, low in kilojoules, and still full of joy. It's new, it's refreshing, it's flavored, it's still Akwele.
As we celebrate 90 years of existence, SAFM takes you back to the voices that shaped a nation.
Now leave the SABC and see the tower block lit up, 27 stories of light. Move from Auckland Park into the shadow of the Hillbrow Post Office Tower.
This is the English service of the SABC. Here is the news, read by Patricia Carr. A member of the Planning Committee of the President's Council, Mr. Nick Turnich, has been appointed chairman of the Council's Community Relations Community.
90 years of trusted voices. This is SAFM.
With the ever-changing financial landscape, it can be difficult to make sense of all the moves at times. Join me, Jimmy Moyaha, on the SAFM Market Update with MoneyWeb, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 to 7 p.m, as we break down the key market trends, top financial stories, and smart investment insights, all in one place. It's everything you need to stay financially informed and ahead of the curve.
The heavyweights of Algerian football, CRB, are on a real hunt for their second win. Meanwhile, Stellies want to maintain their unbeaten run in Group C to remain on the top. This is the CAF Confederation Cup. CR Belouizdad versus Stellenbosch FC this Sunday, 25 January at 8 p.m. Live on SABC Plus and SABC One. Also available on SABC radio stations at 9 p.m. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
I don't love going to school.
I don't love sitting in a classroom with 50 other children, but I do love learning. Ngiyakuthanda ukufunda isiXhosa as a language. I do love getting good grades. I do love UCT Online High School because I do love my future. Apply online before the 26th of January.
Wherever you are in the world, SAFM 104 to 107 is accessible. We're also streaming live on Facebook, X, and YouTube at SAFM Radio. We acknowledge and appreciate everyone tuning in and watching our streams. Stay with SAFM 104 to 107 as we bring you Commission Live, breaking stories, and thought-provoking lectures. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. You are listening to the Ad Hoc Committee, live on SAFM.
All right, it is approaching 10 past 2 o'clock. School is out. Hey, we're back there again, saying school is out. We're going to head back to Cape Town to rejoin that ad hoc committee with former IPID head Robert McBride still testifying. That's day 2 of his testimony. Hoping that this time around, the second half of the day goes a little bit more smoothly, and perhaps we also make some progress by way of some of that questioning. We'll see how it goes, because they took a break we were not anticipating for. So we are thinking, taking an educated guess, that they're going to run until the top of the hour. And then the next voice that you should hear should be Ashraf. But we'll be on standby just in case there is an unforeseen break that happens. That's it from our side. Let's go back to Cape Town.
No, I'm asking, in all your appointments as a senior leader, did you hand in your name yourself? Or
I applied for a post,
So this thing that you had ambitions to be a national commissioner is not true?
No, it's not true, sir.
So how come there's those cases against Motiba? And again, do you remember Dladla? General Dladla?
Yeah. Very well.
Allegedly, there is a case that a certain service provider borrowed him money through his lawyers.
Yeah.
And IPID said that there was corruption in that, and then you investigated.
Well,
was Dladla going to be? At that time, do you think Dladla was going to be a national commissioner? Was there a possibility?
Oh, I don't know what the politics at the higher levels in SAPS is. I don't know, but I know Dladla at some stage. Like I was saying earlier, Cedric Nkabin, they called me to a secret meeting. When I arrived at the meeting, was Dladla. So the meeting was to say, I've got a group of generals who they're about to help you with your investigation. When I arrived there, it was Dladla, Klimba, Ngobo. They were there, and we were just looking at each other. It was in a hotel room. And then Cedric was there, said, well, sir, the ED, they're willing to work with you. So I said, well, my work is fighting against corruption. I'll cooperate with you if we fight against corruption. And that's where it ended. But I know there was a case. Oh, by the way, for the record, I don't believe that a service provider lending money to the end user of the service, the person who puts the order in, is correct. I think it's inappropriate and probably criminal.
Was Dladla in any position of giving tenders at that time?
Any position of?
Giving tenders or?
No, I'm not sure about that at all, but he was the end user as head of Presidential Protection Unit, whatever it's called.
But did he have powers maybe to give tenders?
I'm not sure what the circumstances are. The fact he got a loan doesn't matter. Service providers of SAPS should not be loaning money to SAPS members.
Okay.
Yeah, so the wrong would be there. I don't know if it's ever been given a chance to explain it sort of in a benign way.
Oh, okay. While your mind is still remembering names in the meeting, can you kindly remind or tell me or remember who are these two AfriForum and DA people and journalists who were in the meeting with you and Paula Sullivan?
There was no AfriForum. There was an author was writing a book about Radovan Klitschko.
But there was such a meeting.
It was a braai.
Or it was a braai?
It was a braai. 6th of December 2016.
So who are these journalists that were there?
Sorry?
Who are these journalists that were there?
There was no journalist there. There was only one lady who had written a book about, and I only found it out recently, who was there. There was some other people who were there who I didn't know who they were. Yeah.
Okay.
I knew Shadrach Sibia, and I knew Cedric, I knew Manza, I knew Sarah, and I knew Paul. There were three or four people, three or four people, and one was Brian. I found out later he's like in protective custody or something. And the meat wasn't very good anyway. So.
Let's talk about the rendition. We'll come back to that one.
Yeah.
Two guys, this movie, to me, this is a movie. I don't want to lie to you. This is a movie. Guys are taken up, robbers are taken back to Zim in this irregularly indictment. Sorry. This deportation, irregular deportation. But what happens later is that these two guys, when they were that side, they die, apparently.
I think it's one only, sir.
One?
Yeah.
How did that person die?
The person was shot.
Was shot. Was the process of deportation followed correctly?
No, the process of deportation was irregular.
It was irregular.
Was not proper.
And that is why Sibia and Ramat were dismissed?
Yeah, wrongly so.
Wrongly so?
Yeah, they had nothing to do with it.
And the first thing you did when you came back, you reinstated them. You changed the report.
No, I didn't change the report. We added in new evidence that was obtained.
Which was only a cell phone that you
cell
say
phone
they were
analysis and the cell phone analysis report and something else. I can't remember.
Let me make an
Witness
example.
statement.
Let me just make an example. Money is found under a sofa in the president's house.
Yes.
And it gets stolen. Sorry, Kusel. It gets stolen.
Yes.
Does that make the president not guilty of keeping money in the house because it's not in the house or his cell phone is not found in the scene?
Sorry, Honorable Member, I'm not sure the exact question there. If you can give me the exact question, I'll
The
answer
exact
it
question.
directly.
No, let me try this example again.
Yeah.
Money is found in the president's house under a sofa.
Yes.
And it is later stolen.
Yes.
Does this mean because he's not in the house and his cell phone is not there, he's not guilty of something?
Well, it depends on who uses the house and when. And it's not my case, but in discussions about that case, because the whole country was talking about it, you can't put the president's fingerprint anywhere near that. When I say fingerprints, what's the nexus between the president and
the money?
And the money, it's only the house. Yeah, it's only the house.
So if this was a criminal case, you would have said the president is not guilty.
There's
Because
no
it was
such
not there, but it isn't the stolen. Let's say it's a stolen vehicle. The stolen vehicle is in the president's house, so it's not his.
Yes, no, understand. You say so. If the president is not the only person who has possession or control of his house, if there are other people, I'll give you a good example, which I like using, when there are situations of extrajudicial killings. So a person, 5 people in a car, there's 1 firearm in the car. Are you supposed to shoot all 5?
If they point a gun at me?
No. No one points a gun. It's just evidence there's a gun. Now, the reason why I'm asking you this.
Okay, but for the sake of time, let's go back.
Okay,
so
sir.
Because of the cell phone, you decided that Sibia is not and Damat, they are not guilty
indeed.
of this. Because of the cell phone not being there.
The
so
cell
a
phone,
criminal
the
can go
description-
and steal our laptops here and leave his cell phone at home and deny that he was here. And then he's not guilty because of that.
No, I think that's very critical question here, because what Kuba did, Kuba is a very quiet but effective guy.
Let's stick to the cell phone.
So Kuba...
Let's come back to the cell phone.
No, I'm busy with the phone.
Yeah.
No, hold on. I've got
Okay.
the phone. So this is his work phone. and he's got a private phone which no one knows about. Kuba found out about it and put two phones together on the request. And those two phones are moving together all around Gauteng, but they never reach where this sin of crime. Sin of crime, some people don't like that
And
word.
we are talking about people who understand exactly that when you look for evidence, you must also check phones.
You must check phones.
Yes.
Oh, they checked everything.
I'm saying we are talking about people who understands the law and the system, that if I'm looking for you, first thing I'll investigate is your phones, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's a possibility that they might have left their phone on purpose. There's a possibility.
Both phones?
There's a possibility.
So,
intentionally so.
look, we can hypothesize, and I got some good explanations. I'm not going out of the way to defend anyone. All I'm saying is Sibia was not on the scene.
Okay, let's
The
leave it there.
descriptions they gave about Sibia is completely wrong.
And that's what you used to clean this
Well,
report, to change the report, to know
that was
evidence.
the evidence put there.
Okay.
Because you can't leave that evidence out.
Between Sibia, okay, let me ask you this: do you trust Sibia?
Sibia,
Is he a credible
in which
officer?
sense?
Is he a credible officer, according to you?
From what I know, he is.
He is. Mkwanazi?
Mkwanazi, from what I know, he's interfered with IPID investigation.
Credible or not credible?
Sorry?
Credible or not credible? Let's stick to that. Sibia said credible.
Yeah.
Kabinde?
No,
Gabinde?
I don't want to have this thing.
No, let's
again.
have it. Gabinde?
Honorable Chair, I mean, the whole world can see in Govinda. I mean, why?
Credible or not credible?
I will answer now, but even you guys sent him home to fix up his evidence.
Credible or not credible?
No, it's certainly not credible.
Mkwanazi?
Mkwanazi, maybe for certain things he is,
Credible
but for the
or not
IPID
credible? No,
investigation,
just one. Credible or not credible?
on the whole, not credible.
Pahlani?
Absolutely not.
Mahlangu?
Which one?
The one, Mandla.
Well, when I spoke at his funeral, I said he's a man of integrity.
Okay.
From my view and experience.
Binang?
Solid as a rock.
Kuba? Kuba?
Kuba is solid. Solid,
Okay.
solid.
Now, let me ask this. How much was the value of Pahlani's house?
According to the estimates of the specialists, those observing it, and the rate of building is 8 million at that time.
How much is Mandla Mahlangu's estimate? His house?
I don't know.
Did you know that Mandla had a 7 million plot?
Well, it was a family plot, the way I understand it, and his family was in taxi business.
Did you know that he has a house in Savannah?
I know the house, yes. I've been to the house.
His salary would afford that.
Sorry?
His house, his salary, would he afford that?
I could never afford it.
Did you investigate Mandla?
No, I didn't investigate him.
Why not? Because he was always
Because
with
I
you.
haven't heard any allegation of him stealing and getting kickbacks.
But the house that Paul O'Sullivan went to point,
Yeah.
which was Pahlani's house,
Yeah.
was worth for you to decide that I'm going to investigate this house. But Mandla's house, you didn't think to investigate it.
Thank you so much, Honorable Breitenbach.
Is that 20
Your time starts now, yeah.
Really?
It's up until 15 hours, Honorable Breitenbach.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. McBride.
Afternoon, ma'am.
So, on page 8 of your affidavit, you mentioned that, in your view, General Mkwanazi played an undue and prosecutable role in trying to disrupt and scuttle IPID's investigation into Mr. Pahlani. Could you just briefly tell me why?
So, he's in HR, yet he involves himself in the investigation. He puts pressure on Mandla not to get involved in the investigation. That's Mandla's job. He offers Mandla and Cedric promotions if they become 204s. In his discussion with Khomo, who's from crime intelligence, working in tandem with Mkhwanazi, they ask him, even if Mandla asked, if I'm 204, okay, what am I going to say against the guy? I know nothing wrong about the guy. That's on the exchange on the phone. So Khomo says, no, find anything. And that's it. So he calls the chief investigation of the task team, namely Kuba. And he has a meeting with Kuba, a secret meeting, set up by Nematanzela. Now, Nematanzela sets the meeting up. You have to hand in your phones, and then the issue is, I'll promote you guys. You find something on McBride, and so on. And so, all in all, that is defeating the ends of justice, in my view. It's actions, voluntary actions, which directly affect the integrity of the investigation. So, in that instance, I would say it's a prosecutable case, but I don't know why the case has not been prosecuted. Maybe there's a competing priorities, maybe because Mandla is dead. Mandla also attested to an affidavit which indicates that he was offered the same thing, although Mandla stays away from Mkhwanazi because they're family friends, right? So I suppose that's why Khomo was sent to him, rather than, rather than him going directly here.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any personal knowledge as to why the case against Mr. Sullivan and I think, what's her name? Trent?
Yeah.
Has not been prosecuted? It was struck off the roll some time ago. It's not been re-enrolled for the last sort of 9 years. Do you know what the holdup is?
No, I can't remember what the holdup is, but it's about getting a prosecutable case. And I think they jumped a gun under Mashuka to put it under racketeering. Now, racketeering, in whatever you do, you must have a gratification at the end. There's an absence of gratification, whatever the allegation was. So it was not sustainable. But Sean Abrams was insistent on it. Sean Abrams was completely under the control of the madness that pervaded the criminal justice system then.
When you say Sean Abrams was under control of the madness, do you have a person in mind? Under whose control was he?
Well, I heard a story about how he was appointed from a very junior prosecutor to a senior one. He was seen as malleable and has a great desire to please. And that's why he was chosen. He hadn't worked his way up.
Well, that we certainly agree on.
Yeah.
So you were suspended as the head of IPID in 2015. The then Minister Nhleko appears to have been behind that. You were cleared and then had to rebuild virtually the IPID.
Yes.
Because of the damage that had been done by crime intelligence during your suspension. Could you just briefly expand on that, but please, briefly.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was hard to come back and put things together. So we had to move quickly because the key is to make impact on corruption. Other people can investigate forever and not make impact. IPID, broken, disrupted, denuded of resources and investigators, even then made impact because we just did our work. And we did our work like a bull terrier with a ball in its mouth. It's not going to let go. It's going to hold tight until it gets what it wants. And that's the right approach of tenacity of purpose. And that's what our country needs. We're not a show of force or something. that is meant to threaten the constitutional establishment. That's crazy. I think we must call it for what it is.
And it's something else that I agree with you on. The SIU investigation is finalized, and the evidence received was an affidavit from a former National Intelligence employee who is currently employed by SAPS. Are you aware of any of this?
Sorry, could you repeat it? I was having difficulty hearing.
Okay, never mind. I'll ask a different question. It's fine. If I can just get back to my initial notes. What can you briefly, please, tell us about the RVU3 bulletproof vest procurement investigation into General Makonazi, and where did that end?
I think from memory now, I don't know where the case is. The case is being investigated. So it's a case involving the procurement of bulletproofs at an exorbitant amount. Instead of about 3 to 8,000, they were costing 33,000 each. So that means for 1,000, it was like 33 million or something. And that was the initial payment. So it's quite a trick in the police to artificially increase the price of goods purchased, because that facilitates backhanders. And
yes.
So that's what happened. Now, the person facilitating that is the same Ibenathan Kistia, which is there all around. The one I had alerted, or let's say warned state security that he represents a threat to our national security because of his hold on the police. So he was the one chosen. If I remember, there was two companies which belonged to him or related to him, both tendered for it. And then one of the companies that belonged to him got it. And then there was a trip to show something else, again to Paris. Seemed like Paris is a famous place for funny business. In any case, as a gift organized for the officials there, a number of bags were handed out, like expensive luxury bags, something I'd never have. But seemingly those bags were like part of the overall inducement. It was not the main one. Something else was going down. It's not a bag. So there's a fuss made about the bags. The bags are just an indication that there is gratification at a small scale. So my understanding is that when Masamola was asked about it, he said, no, he doesn't remember it. And I think Mkonazi says, don't know what he's seen it as. But one of the officials at, I think it could have been even crime intelligence, I can't remember. Returned the bag to IPID, and it's part of evidence to indicate and gave a statement exactly the procedure that had preceded the handing out of bags. So what slowed the case down was we couldn't get the name of the driver who was driving people around, so that the French could assist us with mutual legal assistance so that we can talk to the guy. That's where I understand it is. One of the people in facilitating that matter, I understand, a senior French policeman, is at present imprisoned for corruption. So I think it's best to get that matter has been handled by IDAC now. It's better for IDAC to brief the committee on it. Yeah, so where that is. Now, I understand there are competing prosecutory priorities. So one has to look what is the best one. You have to make a choice which to go with first. It's not a pick and choose. It's which one is easier to get a prosecution and conviction on. So that is part of the process which holds some important cases behind. Okay. The truth of the matter is some cases which you think are not important in a particular case, if you had prosecuted them then, without the bigger cases, a smaller case, the impact you might have made would have been bigger than going after the big case with a lot of resources. For example...
No, I agree with the principle.
Yeah.
It's fine, thank you. I'd like to move on to my next question.
Sorry about that.
Mr. Patlani was appointed by former President Zuma to serve as the acting national commissioner. His appointment came at the height of state capture. In your opinion, and based on your investigations as the head of IPID, did Patlani fight crime and corruption as he was mandated to do? Or did he use his position to enrich himself?
So, no, I didn't see any evidence of that. I didn't see any evidence of that.
Of what?
Of him being committed to fighting crime and make an impact. In my opinion, and maybe that's my memory after many years, is that he was mainly interested in his tenders. Someone just phoned me now from the crime laboratories who are working there. There's an instance when there was a process of fiscal dumping after the year end was closed. So what is fiscal dumping is when people haven't used their expenditure properly, and the last quarter they just buy or anything that is there, even if it's not a priority or needed, because they failed to do it consistently during the year. But in this particular case, it's the strangest one. It was for some lights, like an ultraviolet type of light, which was manufactured in Australia, and the order was generated at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on 31st of March. I think could be 2018, I'm not sure of the year. And within 2 hours, before midnight, the 54 million was paid. So the stuff would have to be manufactured, come from Australia, delivered, and then that 54,000 would be paid. Now that's the most weirdest case of fiscal dumping. It's pure corruption. I don't know why it's not. I've mentioned it to Parliament before. I mentioned it to Parliament in Portfolio Committee, and I mentioned it to Scopa also. So those are matters which are kind of clear-cut matters, even if you come from purely an auditing side. So what happens is that, because all the payments get lined up at the end of the year, the end of the month, at the end of the year, the payment reflects on 1st of April or 2nd of April. So it looks like it's in a new financial year. So it's a trick they use, because there are so many payments that need to be made, electronically they're all lined up. So you look for it, you search for the end of, 25-26 financial year, and you won't find that payment there. So it looks like it's a false allegation. But if you check in 26-27, one of your first payments there, you'll see it's the fiscal dumping. So there's all these tricks people have learned over time.
Yes, but the prosecution is surely aware of those tricks, so those cases should not be hard to do.
Yeah, they're aware of it, but I don't know how far the prosecution is here.
Okay. Then the case opened by Paul O'Sullivan against Mr. Patlani. It involved exhibits going missing from the forensic lab stores. There was reference to cocaine. Rhino Horn, are you familiar with this matter?
Yeah, I think it's either Munsami or Pop Crew who made the complaint, yeah.
Yes. And do you know what's happened to that matter?
No, I'm not sure what happened. I know there was a key person who had been placed there to facilitate whatever must be done. And as soon as the investigations were done, there was a female officer, brigadier, suddenly disappeared from from the forensic crime lab. I can't remember the name of the lady. Yeah?
The case, do you know what's happened to that? Hasn't gone anywhere?
No, I don't have an idea, ma'am.
Earlier today, you mentioned that part of all the problems that you experienced started off with the investigation of one Mr. Toshan Pandey. Can you expand on that, please?
Yeah, so at a certain stage, the matter was handed over to us because it involved police officers involved. And the KZN DPCI was being targeted because they were investigating that matter. And that matter was linked to a lot of important people who had links to even more important people. In any event, it's about corruption and false accommodation during FIFA World Cup 2010, at which time former Minister Bheki was the National Commissioner at that stage, which is the one involves Pandey, Ngobeni, I think someone called Mado, and one or two others. Yeah. I remember at that stage, they had tried to bribe Johan Boysen, who was the head of Hawks, with 2 million. But unbeknown to the bribers, he set them up, and there was a letter inside the money bag. And when the guy arrived with the money, after Boysen having, I think it's called a 252A, I think that's what it's called, with cameras, with recordings and everything. They picked up that, the envelope with the letter in, and dusted it for fingerprints. They found out Toshan Pandey's fingerprint is on there. So it's clear that he was associated with the 2 million bribe, and his go between, I think, was Madhu. And I think those cases are on at them, I'm not sure, but those cases were handed to us. So we inherited the forensic people, and we submitted. We tried to get it so many times on the roll, and so many times it was kicked off. But I think it went on the roll. For some reason, I think Pandey is on the roll, but Pandey is on the roll also for tax evasion or something. There are a number of cases.
For what reason would a case be kicked off the roll several times?
I'm not sure. At least I know on one occasion, Commissioner Ria Pierre tried to stop the investigation, and Lieutenant General Dramat, as head of Hawks, countered that by said, go ahead with the investigation. The investigation has merit, go ahead. So that might be also a reason why it was targeted. The DPCI and Dramat were targeted because Dramat gave the order as a national head to continue with the investigation. So those are the links. The links inevitably, on that matter, even though we took it over, and I'm sure it's with IDEC or something now, or back to DPCI, I'm not sure. It started with that issue when former Minister Bheki was National Commissioner.
Okay.
And
that's fine, thank you. You'll agree with me, I'm sure, that crime intelligence is a vital aspect of fighting crime, and more particularly corruption, racketeering, those types of crimes.
Indeed.
Now, crime intelligence today is really almost non-existent. It's in a huge mess. Some of them have been arrested, some more than once. The IGI has been suspended. The head of the National Prosecuting Authority is under constant attack. The head of IDAC also under attack. What are your thoughts on these issues? Briefly, please.
Well, firstly, my view is that there should be an independent vetting, a security vetting, and integrity testing agency, separate, not under crime intelligence, not under state security, but that deals with the two aspects, integrity testing and security vetting. Now, the difference between the two is security vetting every 5 years. And mostly it's there to test whether you are selling your country out. And integrity testing is really to check whether you're a thief or will do improper things. Now, the two are very different. The one you can do anytime, or at least once a year, or as a pre-employment screening. My own view is that they should be together. You can't do one or the other, because you will find a person with purported integrity on the scores is also selling his country out. And you'll find out an honest person who doesn't have a preponderance to steal might be selling his country out. But you'll find someone who's not selling his country out who's a thief. So you've got to weigh this up. And also the person that walks into a job at a particular time, it's as clear as water. Within 5 years, that's not the same guy. That guy's been contaminated by the environment. So you have to do it regularly to keep the integrity up and security vetting up, because that's happening all the time. It's happening all the time, so you need to do it and do it. But if you are under a particular ministry, the ministry will interfere with you. In some, we've seen two, I don't know what the reasons are, two inspector generals having their clearance withdrawn. Clearance is a game they play with. I remember Becky Cleary jumping up and down in Parliament about he doesn't have a security clearance, whereas he interfered with the process of me renewing my security clearance. And yet he employed my successor without a security clearance. So that's the game. It's an abuse of the security clearance issue. But if you have a dedicated agency that's independent, you can get the stuff done.
Okay, so talking about your security clearance and the fact that you were removed, while you were suspended at IPID, many cases were closed. I think it's reported that it was over 1,500 cases were closed while you were on suspension. For example, gang rapes by SAPS members, very big, important matters were closed. When you returned, how many of these cases were reinstated?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I would imagine that Mr. Sissoko and his team would, in fact, I do remember they were dealing with identifying what was fiddled with and what can be put back on the investigation table. So I remember him doing that process, yeah.
Do you have any recollection of the numbers?
No, I don't. I don't have the numbers. I just know it was done, and I know it was significant enough to disrupt the normal flow of events.
Okay. My final question, Mr. McBride, and I want a very brief answer, please. 3 things that we can do that will limit or stop political interference in the criminal justice structure.
Politicians to know the lines. Also politicians, and we had started writing a document in the place where I work about proximity to especially new members of parliament, how people will come around them, suggest issues to them, entice them, and try to control them. Initially, it'll be something simple. You know, you buy your wife a gift or your husband a gift, but slowly it's a golf day, it's something, but slowly you see you spending more time with the guy. But the guy has an agenda. He's a service provider and he has an agenda. So I didn't finish that article. Some internal matters happened there. So I was writing that mainly for members of parliament to understand, especially under the new GNU, what the dangers are, how those dangers are connected to even geopolitical issues. So those kind of rules must be out there, but people don't obey rules if there's no kind of enforcement or stuff. So individual parties must deal with their own members, number one, and they must exercise their own sense of integrity testing and strictness in the rules. And it's not for us, it's for the next generation, the kids. Everybody knows the dangers that kids land in every time, and the temptations they are subjected to, which are very different to what we went through. And sometimes geopolitical players would use criminality to make their initial moves. You wouldn't see it coming because you treat it as a crime. And yet it's part of a chessboard being played. So there's that one. There's a third one about the independent agency. And the fourth one is to look at, so municipal police, metro police. Metro police was meant to be a force multiplier. That's what was done. Two things happened. One, it was done through SAPS Act, the Metro Police. And the SAPS Act took precedent over the other local government-related legislations. The result is controlled by now, as it's done by Civilian Secretariat for legislation formulation. Whereas that's, in my view, my humble opinion, not being a jurist, is unconstitutional. It should be done here by the members of parliament, understanding the legislation and formulating here. So one of the key issues which everyone asks is because my organization, where I am not an official or major active member, we have an allergy to anything that sounds like it's moving towards federalism, even if it's not, because of the experiences of the past and division. Now, the other party in the GNU that controls the Western Cape has the opposite view. They go from a position of federalism. So there is almost an instinctive clash that comes, whereas we should leave the isms out and let's look at what works. So I'm talking about municipal police. So if municipal police was to be a force multiplier, why aren't municipal police properly trained with the right standard operating procedures, right prescripts, allowed to carry some dockets to take the pressure off SAPS? So if there's a theft in a municipal building, you don't have to get a whole detective to come from, the big station and come in and investigate it. You'll get that member to do that. Already a lot of legal competencies have cascaded to Metro Police. Boarding vessels if there's suspected there are drugs on them, domestic violence and emergency safe centers, public order policing issues. So Part of what I was doing in my missing years from the CV was doing possible models to get that done. And one of the models that we were doing was...
We're a long way from the question, Mr. McBride. I asked for three things that would prevent political
It's
interference.
3 things I've given you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Sorry, I started enjoying myself.
Okay, thank you so much. Honorable Klopper, are you next? Honorable Bredenbach, who is speaking? The 20 minutes, who is using it?
Honorable Carla Barnard.
Honorable Carla Barnard, your time starts now.
Thank you,
Up
Chair.
until 12 minutes past.
Mr. McBride, it's interesting that Mr. Pachlane, of course he's Mr., not General, as he's been referred to for some reason. His arrest was along with several crime intelligence members, major generals, all arrested over 54 million rand tender fraud. And the ID did the arrest. That was in 2022, and the tender was way back in 2016, so it took a very long time to come to that point. And again, the company was iView. That was allegedly, now you referred to iView a little bit earlier, the Durban businessman, one Imbanathan Kistia, same person. And I've looked through and I've seen his name and his companies pop up in a number of matters.
Yeah.
So yes, I think he's very deeply involved in a lot of the cases. In fact, he was also investigated in relation to the 45 million rand procurement of a grabber prior to the ANC's elective conference at Nasrec in 2017. And I remember being in a meeting when you informed the Police Portfolio Committee about the grabber issue.
Yes.
And yeah, I think you were done away with soon after that for your missing year. So another system called the Daedalus, 21 million, also was from iView by crime intelligence to encrypt phone calls. Of course, at that time, Mr. Pachlane was already under investigation in a blue lights matter. Again, payment was made. There seemed to be a history of payment being made, but no goods delivered.
Yes.
So that resulted in, sorry, I can't see Mr. McBride. Thank you, that's great, thank you. That resulted in Mr. Pachlane being arrested again. That was the 86 million. So joining those dots, we seem to have the common element of that Durban businessman. Would I be correct in having done that?
Yeah, indeed, there's a clear pattern, which I was trying to explain earlier. The pattern indicates commitment to corruption. It's not like one corruption out of the blue. It's a commitment to corruption. It's like people are put in place for corruption. So when someone tells you, this matter is a HR matter, check deeper. People get put in positions to do certain things. People get put in positions as a reward for things they've done before. So inevitably, in such a system, a systemic problem exists where the system is used to do corruption. So that's where we are. So it's a commitment to corruption. It's about eating, controlling the funds. And also we have obsession with rank. I tell you what, I was told by a veteran policeman, lecturer of mine, a policeman will sell his mother for his rank. That's why important, because it gives him power. Not only power to order people around, power to have access to resources. So that's the name of the game. So if your systems are not right, you can't throw more personnel at the system because you multiply your problems. That's all it is. It's logic, law of averages. If you have your systems not working properly, not being audited properly, and you throw more human beings at it, you just multiply your problems because people catch on quickly. Oh, this is how it works.
Mr. McBride, do you have any knowledge of where Mr. Inbanathan Kistia is now? What is his status? Does he still provide so many opportunities to the SAPs? I've never heard of so many things that were ordered, paid for, and not delivered. I've heard of it happening in our hospitals, and that's all under investigation, but I hadn't realized it was going on to this degree within the SAPs and crime intelligence.
So he's a co-accused of General Parsani,
Okay.
and both are out on bail. And together with Agnes Makmele.
Is he
Also
also,
general.
I think it's iView software also that was aimed at monitoring the fees must fall social media platforms. Again, paid for, not delivered. Millions. Extraordinary how much has been paid to this man without delivering anything. So, okay, let's move on. Do you believe implicitly the statement that was presented by Innocent Kuba that he was offered a promotion by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi? I know you went into it, but
No.
what is your absolute belief on what happened at that time about the promotion offer?
Kuba is wrongly interpreted as being weak. And Kuba will smile all the way. But he will pull the carpet out your feet the last minute if you're a corrupt person. And that's what he does. He doesn't say more than he has to. But he is very smart. And he will smile all the way. He'll make you chase him until he catches you. So he operates like that. Gentle, patient, but impactful when it happens. And that's what happened here. In investigating the size of the monster we are dealing with in SAPS corruption, we now have a good idea about it. Thanks to Cedric, thanks to Patlani, thanks to Mkhwanazi. We have a good idea of the corruption. I don't know about the 6th of July things. I know it about from investigations into them. Out of that, we see the size of the monster. The monster can be slain by systems, by definite checks, by getting the right people, by breaking the patronage system for appointments that's inside SAPS. You get a minister who interferes. Well, let me put it differently. You cannot spin a failure. You cannot spin a systemic failure. You cannot spin a whole departmental failure. So it's useless to have a minister go into every incident where someone was killed and you have Masemola standing behind. In each of those provinces, there are national, provincial commissioners. There's a national commissioner. Why should, in that instance, Beki Cele be flying from point to point where there's an incident? That's a waste of money, but also it gives a wrong idea. It's sort of like a false carrying about people. Deal with the system that's wrong.
SFM News with momentum. Those with financial advisors have a better shot at generational wealth. Speak to a Momentum accredited financial advisor for advice that meets your context. Here's the news with Ondela.
Top stories at 3 o'clock. Concord rules on marriage contract and European Commission pushes for independence to defend itself. Good afternoon. The Constitutional Court has ruled that a spouse cannot enter into an antenuptial contract in a bid to override their initial and existing marriage property regime, whether it be civil or customary marriage. The court today decided to not uphold a decision by the High Court in Pretoria to declare a section of the Recognition of Customary Marriages Act unconstitutional. The matter stems from an opposed divorce between VVC and JRM, who were married in community of property by way of customary law in 2011 and later entered into a civil marriage. Kenny Mapanga has the details.
VVC successfully challenged the section in the High Court to the extent that it permits the conclusion of contracts that change matrimonial property regimes without judicial oversight. The Constitutional Court disagreed, finding that a civil marriage subsumes a customary marriage, it does not dissolve it, and that there is nothing in that provision that envisages a change of a matrimonial property system.
President Cyril Ramaphosa says government must intervene to ensure safer transport for learners. He was addressing the education sector lekgotla taking place in Boksburg, east of Johannesburg. His comments followed the death of 12 learners in a taxi